All right, it's time to sit down and finally go over episode 6 of Kamen Rider Geats. Before I jump into it, I just want to be serious for a moment. Um, a lot of the content was delayed this week, and it's going to be like that for a little bit. Um, when it rains, it pours. On top of my work schedule drastically changing, I have some health issues that I'm dealing with right now. So that's why this video's literally I'm recording this video on late Wednesday night. Um, just a lot going on. So dealing with all that stuff. So it's a lot of the stuff's not going to be done in a timely manner because everything going on. So until I get a balance and figure out, I'm trying to see how to word it. When I can figure out a time frame in which I can get everything back to normal to record, everything's going to be a little all over the place for a bit. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about Kamen Rider Geats, and just like all the previous 4 episodes, we start off with K1 narrating everything with his nice little video log. I'm really curious when we get like the Blu-rays and stuff. You know how they split the seasons up in Blu-rays and they do specials. I kind of hope the special actually has like a compilation of all of his recordings to kind of get like. I think that'd be really cool to have that as like a special feature on there. Um, but yeah, he's going over everything that's been happening, and we we get right into uh Azuma and Morio Mary talking where they left off in the last episode, and he says that the redraw ticket, he has a way to guarantee that he's teamed up with Azuma because he has slick hands, so to speak. So I'm wondering what they're hinting at with this. Even Azuma does. He questions, what does he do for a living? And Mario kind of brushes it off and walks away as Ace approaches. We get some great, um, you know, more back and forth dialogue between Ace and Azuma. I'm really curious to see how this is fully going to flesh out down the road between these two. They have a nice rivalry going on right now. So it seems, this is the Morio and Azuma episode because we then see Ace in the lounge area sitting down while Neon's enjoying a delicious parfait. Um, and he has on his phone, he was looking up and he found a news article going over Morio that he was an illegal casino dealer that flees the country after pocketing profits. And I was just like, okay. So he is kind of like a shady character. This makes perfect sense. And it is announced that the redraw is now happening. And Mario has redrawn Azuma as his partner, leaving Punk Jack with Kawa. And I like how Punk Jack's attitude towards Mario is great because even then he just kind of like bumps into him as he walks by him. And I'm like, man, I was like, for an NPC rider, he's definitely got interesting attitude, especially towards Mario, and I thought that was really entertaining. Um, so then we get like a little montage, beach training with Punk Jack and Kawa. Kawa's really, trying to make the best of it. Very frustrated though, and Ace does something nice. He gives the boost buckle back to Kawa, and I was into like, oh wow, he's gonna use it. Is he actually gonna use it? Because this is like the worst tease in Kamen Rider for the longest time that I've seen, where Kawa keeps getting the boost buckle and either gives it away or in this and I'm like, man, he needs to use it this time. Like, please. What I thought was hilarious because Kawa was trying to do his henshin pose, and Punk Jack just runs over, starts fighting the Dramato, and Kawa's like, you're supposed to at least wait until after to like he's done, doing his thing to before you run in and attack. So quick overview. We'll go back in the back in the lounge, and Azuma brings up, him and Kawa are just sitting there chit chatting, and he even says like, "Hey, you can buy a redraw ticket too." And Kawa, once again, they're really building up how much of a nice guy he is in all this. He says he doesn't want to complicate everything for the other players. He said, "What if he redraws Ace? That wouldn't be fair to Neon." And I was like, okay. And even Azuma says, bringing yourself down for others doesn't make much sense because Kawa said he doesn't want to bring others down just so he can win. And you kind of get like this inkling that Azuma isn't this antagonistic character. Like, he's not a bad guy. He has his reasons, and we learn what those reasons are in this episode. But you can see there is a morality compass for him. He doesn't like he wants to win, but he doesn't want to be a scumbag about it. Like he doesn't want to cheat and take shortcuts. He wants to just be the best and stop all the other riders. So we get a suspicious little Mario calling to Azuma to get out of the lounge and meet him in the hallway. And when they meet up, he shows that he stole the boost buckle from Keiwa. And even you can kind of see through this whole interaction, Azuma's he's not really having it. Like you can see he's already tired. And even I'm just like, man, I have a feeling like this isn't going to go the way Mario thinks it's going to. Mario starts laughing, and all of a sudden it kind of like triggers a flashback for Azuma where he sees two mysterious riders laughing. And we don't really get much more context out of that other than he's now associating Mario's laugh and him being shady to these other two riders that he's previously interacted with in another game. Ace shows up again and they start talking. And he says, Ace says something really interesting, which definitely shows that he does know why Azuma's doing what he's doing. Because he says, doing whatever it takes as long as you win. And then he's like, weren't there some other riders like that? It reminded him of other riders in the past. And then even Ace says he remembers why Azuma hates him so much. And then we finally get the flashback that we kind of got hinted at with Toro, Azuma's friend. And we see these two shadowy riders beating up Toru, and he drops a zombie buckle and they take it, and they're laughing as they walk away. And then Jamato come up and defeat and yeet Toru. And as he's in Azuma's arms, he starts to hint at something that's up with the Desire Grand. He says that the Desire Grand Prix is, and then Azuma starts questioning it. And I noticed right by this, he's wearing civilian clothes. So he was a civilian in the game that Toru was a part of and got defeated in. Because even Ace says, because Geats shows up, defeats starts fighting the Jamato, and then says, he's just better off forgetting all about this, and then proceeds to destroy the Jamato. So I think that's really cool that, just like Keiwa was in the first episode as a civilian, so wasn't Azuma at one point, and he's now a part of it. And I was like, okay, so this really builds up the fact that, I wonder what other civilians might be witnessing things from the Desire Grand Prix over the last 6 episodes, or even longer, that from, what we haven't seen, that are now riders that, or will become riders in other games that are just like, oh yeah, no, I saw you guys taking down these, weird alien card creatures and as a team, and my girlfriend was attacked by one of them, or my boyfriend or husband or whatever. Like, we don't know. This could build up so much cooler backstory to see the implications of the civilian side of things with the Desire Grand Prix. So I was like, that's pretty cool. I like that. So Azuma then says he will win and he will destroy every single rider. Then we get a cool little flash of him writing on his card. We finally get to see what it says. It is the power to destroy every Kamen Rider. And I was like, ooh. That's pretty neat. I noticed this episode a lot of flashbacks, character building, and then a lot of the stuff happening in the lounge area. So a lot of good character building. So obviously we're back in the lounge area, and Kay was having a fit. He lost his boost buckle. Oh no. And then we get Azuma saying, hey, if you can beat them in a game, you can win it back. And then we get a beach race where the first to grab the buckle wins. And yeah, that's it. Cable wins, but Mario grabs him in a nice little judo throw, kicks him in the stomach, pulls the buckle from him, and fair and square, he now no longer has it. So by now we're like 2/3 of the episode. Not a lot, like from an action standpoint, has happened, because everything's been in the lounge area, in hallways, flashbacks, which I like how it's being progressed, because I have a feeling with the character development we're getting, yeah, they give us some hints and some backstory to the ones when they get eliminated, but obviously this whole game Grand Prix is almost over, and there will be another one. So I'm curious to see that fallout after that, and then the next Desire Grand Prix starting up. So yeah, our final round has started. Um, this out of all the games, I feel like so far the zombie one has been my favorite. Even though some of the action sequences and like co-op attacks we've seen in this one have been great, even though most of the time it's from Neon and Geats. But we did get to see Mary actually using the chain array pretty damn good, pretty smooth. I was like, oh wow, these are some good attacks. That's nice. Um, with all their time, I'm like, Buffa's just standing there watching. And then, he's also watching Punk Jack and Kawa struggle. And Mary even trying to goad him on the whole time, like, hey, you're just going to stand there and watch? Like, we got some point. Like, let's win. Let's do this. Come on, buddy. And then we see what I think is probably one of my favorite combos right now is the zombie with the boost. And I noticed that when Buffa summoned he did the revolve, so it was like boost on top, zombie bottom half. The animal that came out, which was a fox for Geats, is actually a bull for Buffa. So I was like, oh, so it changes based on their ID core animal. I thought that was really cool. And it was really weird because, when you're watching the episode, you're like, okay, Buffa's dragging the Jamato over to where Kawa is, and now he's going for a finish. And then Kawa's charging up a finish. And we get Reiwa Era has been great with a lot of the visual effects for the fighting sequences, more specifically with Revice, how they handle a lot of practical effects, and then Geats with a lot more of the action choreographed fights and this and that. But this one, they did a whole freeze frame with the zoom walking around while everything was frozen, and I was like, ooh, this looks cool. I really like this. And then when they both do their finish at the same time, they get their points. So our lovely host shows up and informs everyone that Azuma purchased the redraw ticket before the round started, and that after redrawing, he picked Kawa at random. And so Punk Jack and Mary are back on a team, much to the dismay of Mary, which really entertained me. And so now they got, their 2 points. And Azuma claims he did this because he wanted to get rid of Mario. He didn't want to have to deal with him later on in the rounds, which I would say is a cop-out reason. We know the real, like, after how much time K1 and Azuma's, kind of get to, I feel like Azuma probably sees a little bit of Taru in Kawa. He's a nice guy. He has his heart in it for a reason. He's doing things for a reason. He's just a nice guy. And, you want to keep, he probably would have felt bad knowing that he screwed him over due to his partner. Or Azuma could see it as he's a cakewalk to have in the final round because he won't pull the trigger on anything and he'll, easily defeat him, like get more points than him. Who knows? We'll find out. So this whole time we got what I like to think is one of the coolest combos ever. Geats and Neon decided to just let's take out 2 pairs at once. Geats took her hammer from her, put it with the Magnum, launched her up in the air with the hammer, and as she's hitting down with the claws, he did some kick shot rider kick deliciousness that just they wiped out all 4, getting a total of 400 points to their already 200 points, which led them with 600 points. So, and the round was over. So, round's over. Our lovely comes back out to reveal the scores, and Punk Jack and Mary are in last place with 0 points. And that means that Moreo is now eliminated and no longer qualified to be a Kamen Rider. He starts shouting at them, says when he sees them again, they're in trouble, and this and that. But because of this, let me pull up my chart, so to speak. Because we had an elimination due to points, but I count it. We now have the Yeet counter going up to 3.5 for the season so far, with Mario being eliminated. I can't wait for an actual Jamato related Yeet so I can get 1 full point, because I mean honestly I feel like I'm just grasping at straws trying to milk this counter, because And I realized too, I didn't when I made the counter, I didn't realize how long the GDPs or DGPs were gonna go. So now I'm just like, damn, what if like the next whole game starts after this Grand Prix is over and like five riders get like yeeted by Jamatos in the first episode? It's like, damn, in the first round. It's like, I didn't think about that until like 45 seconds ago. So, and finally, Kawa finally asks, what does it mean to be disqualified? And we find out that if you are disqualified due to points, you are then returned to your civilian life with no memory of what goes on. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then to leave us obviously on a cliffhanger, we are told the final boss is approaching and we need to get ready. And now we are left with our final four, which is Geats, Buffa, Nago, and Tycoon. 4 riders left already, 6 episodes in. We're definitely getting multiple Grand Prix this season, that's for sure. So, and before I get into my full rest of my thoughts, the episode ends with another DGP rule, which I forgot to do in the last episode. My apologies. This time around, it says those who are disqualified will have their memories related to the DGP erased, returning to their original lives. I'm curious, honestly, because Ace is the star to the stars, and Moria was such a scumbag and he fled, so he never really actually had to atone for his crimes. I'm wondering if either Azuma or Ace are gonna like track him down to like report him to the authorities or something, just as a haha got you back and you have no reason why I'm doing this type of situation. But that's it for episode 6 of Geats. I really enjoyed this episode. I'm so curious, one, what the final boss is gonna be. 2, say I want to talk about this in another video, but obviously with everything going on, I don't know if I'd have time to make one. I'm curious to see if what if say K was eliminated or not disqualified, like what if someone's eliminated but they're still in the show as a civilian and we get more of their civilian life and something happens, say like Ace wins and he's like, I want Kayla to have another chance at his dream, or I want Neon to have another chance at her dream, even though they're not qualified anymore. Could a wish technically change that, but we see them as a civilian in their day-to-day life while the next DGP is going on, and then that winner resets everything and now they're back to like, join again, and then they have a memory, then they get their memories back. I'm curious because there's so many loopholes and we know Ace is testing the limits to that. But that is it for my review and my overview of the episode. Once again, I thank everyone who's been watching the videos and all the subscribers. I'm I'm like less than 10 away from 800. This is ridiculous. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to fight being burnt out physically and everything else to like record and make content because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy Kamen Rider. I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy interacting with people who comment in Discord and this and that. So I thank you guys honestly for checking out my content. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.